We got another Kickstarter demo here for you. This is Mining Maniac, currently on Kickstarter right now.
From X-Axis Production, designed by Andrea Tsang, whose name I'm sure we're pronouncing incorrectly, as always. But the premise of the game is that we're all miners digging for different minerals.
Well, we're more of the companies.
Right. Well, we're trying to make money based off the amount of things that our hired workers can get for us.
Right.
That's a good point.
Of course, though, because we are selling into a marketplace, the prices tend to flux. Mm-hmm. So this means you might not want to sell until maybe the market is more of a demand instead of when it's low. However, other players are going to do their best to make things a little bit harder for you.
So we'll go over the basics of the game. As you can see here, this is the market board, tells you how much everything costs. Mm-hmm. And essentially on your turn, you'll be working from this field of 9 cards, which are each different resources. And at the beginning, you will roll a die, and depending on what you get, you flip over one of these either columns or rows. And that will show you, for example, now it's kind of like digging, so you know what's there.
However, let's say Jonathan took his turn. This is what I saw at the beginning of my turn, and I rolled that revealed this column. This would flip back over. So it's a good flux of back and forth.
Right. So what you see might not always be what you can get.
Right.
And then you also have to spend workers that you have to get something once you've unearthed it. It's not yours right away. And then you can, of course, sell those things to the market depending on what the price is. And the goal is to have the most money at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of little things, little wrinkles that make it interesting.
Let's start off with the first player marker as well as the rolls.
All right, we got.
So I'm not sure the very first round.
Well, technically, it's the person who most recently made a purchase of gold or copper or something like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Just pure or anything that has that.
That's up to your discretion.
Anyways, the person who has this gets to look at these special roll cards. If I can keep them in my hand. Well, before they get to look at them, we forgot.
And we should keep in mind, in case you didn't know, these are just all prototype components, not final.
Takes one card out and looks at what cards he has. And we'll secretly choose one. Now, depending on the card you choose, they have numbers in the corner. We'll actually tell you the order when actually picking and selling. So this doesn't actually mean you go first. It just means you get first pick at turn order.
So there's basically a drafting round each round to decide which special ability you get.
And some of them will just affect you, might give you an extra selling turn, which is a favorite of mine. Or some of the other ones could actually, if you can guess the other player's roll before they reveal, you can actually hurt them by either taking away a worker or a resource.
So there's almost an aspect of like love letter-esque deduction in there.
And in the case, like for example, let's say I took the trader here. Mm-hmm. When Jonathan gets this, even though he knows I took one card because one card was taking me out, he doesn't know exactly which card I took. I mean, currently he has a 50-50 shot of guessing.
Right, and of course, the more players you have, the less...
certain people
the
have
more
less
uncertain
info.
you are.
Right.
And we'll talk about player count later. But yeah, so there's that.
Then, before we all reveal our roles, after everyone chooses though, there's a incident deck. This is pretty much all the craziest things that can happen. From, let's see, the top one is labor subsidy, if I can speak.
Labor subsidy.
Laser subsidy. No, it's for all lasers. Players get $1 for each gain $1 for each worker they currently have hired. So pretty much you make money for if you happen to have more workers. But there could be things like the market changes. They actually have here, if you notice, pluses and minuses. So something may say gold goes up 1 while coal goes down 1.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of stuff that can change that you need to be aware of as the game goes on.
Especially there are some that actually could punish you if you hoard too many resources. There's some that lose all your gold.
Or even if you have a lot of money, it'll bring you down a peg if you have the most money. And the incident cards also kind of act as the timer for the game. Each round you draw one, and that's
this is the whole stack here. But usually there would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
12.
So I was just making sure they actually count. So, and it's always random each time, so you don't know you're not going to hit with every single incident.
Right. So there's a good mix of chaos and strategy.
So let's actually go over a full turn. So
sure.
I'm going to go back to this lovely hand.
Oh, those are
we'll get to those. We'll get to those. Because that's a little special. Oh, and it's not random. I actually get to choose.
All right. Do it quick.
Not like we
really would do it when we would take an hour. All right. I will take this one.
All right. Now, whoever has the first player marker, which would be me, starts counting down. So I'll go 1, and if anyone has 1, they would reveal. So 1, 2.
Nope.
3.
All right. So I had the contagious worker, which means I guess a character.
I also realized you didn't take a card out.
Yeah, I realized that too.
That's
I'm supposed to take a card out. I guess a character that you would have, and you have to discard half of your workers rounding up. Of course, we didn't set anything up. You don't have any workers, and we also messed up the card count.
Right.
But let's just say I said, where's the card? I don't know. You have the recruiter. Am I right?
No.
I'm wrong. So nothing happens. And then I would take my turn.
So what would happen first is he rolls this.
Right. Da-da-da.
And depending on the numbers,
Just say it's a 4.
4. You go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
They have it in the book, so you can look it up just to be sure. We've played this enough, so we have a general idea.
And then I would have you start with a couple of workers,
Right.
And I would have the option to and some money too. So I could buy more first of all.
Well, you have an option to take 2 out of the following 3 actions, unless the card says otherwise.
Workers.
You can either sell any resources you have, which currently Jonathan does not have any. You can buy more workers, up to 4 at $1 a piece. Just grab a couple.
Some money.
Yeah. And then you can mine, in which mining takes a number of workers equal to the total top on the card.
And of course you can sell it, but I don't have anything to sell.
I said in the
you
beginning.
said that. He said
Yes.
it in the beginning. So let's say I don't even want to buy anything. Maybe I do. I buy 2 workers and I spend them on this copper. This
Right.
tells you how many workers you need to get it. That's how much copper it's worth.
So if he were to sell, he'd be right. If he sold it now, if he had the opportunity, but he bought workers first and not, he would sell them for each one for 3. So the total card would be worth $6.
And this would probably really be a better choice. Either of these would probably be better. Well, certainly this because I would.
Well, we're not full setup, okay?
Right, but that would be
we-
nice because this is 3 workers, but you're getting 4 resources. So it's part of the luck of the draw of how good the deals you get are.
Right.
And then you would kind of
replace.
Oh, right.
And then we keep going. In my case, I'd be 4, and then I pretty much do the same thing.
Right. So that gives you a pretty good idea of the game.
Yeah.
The thing we keep not mentioning is the game is for 2 to 4 players in its current incarnation on Kickstarter. We actually have some extra cards and money that allow for up to 6 players.
Right.
And that's where these extra characters come in that we haven't been able to use with... You
Right.
won't be able to use until, if this is
Otherwise,
successful,
yes.
there may be an expansion or something.
They are very cool. We do like them. They
Yeah.
added a lot more. They add a lot more flair.
But
very cool.
As the designer said, and we agree, definitely the more the merrier. We did it with 2 and 3 players so far.
Yeah.
And one of the things when drafting, there's definitely, like we mentioned, more interesting dynamics with more people because there's more uncertainty and more guesswork and stuff like that.
Well, also the way the first person token passes, it's not like
right, it's a little,
it's not a binary answer.
Right, yeah. So that's interesting. But it's a cool, it's a theme I don't think I've ever seen before.
Mining?
Yeah, we have games like.
I'm trying to think. Usually it's a subsidy of it.
Yeah, like maybe you
but
get
not
resources
focusing
and
on its
stuff. And I really do think the turning over cards is a cool way to do it.
No, I was talking with you. I liked it, and I even wanted to be like, all right, now flip over like dinosaur parts or something. You know?
Right. Yeah.
No, what's cool is because they can flip back over. I really like that.
Well, there's that uncertainty, and it's also just. It's neat. It accurate, not really accurately, but it kind of recreates the feeling of like digging and what am I gonna get? It adds some excitement to your turn. It's a good. I think it would be a good beginner game. It's pretty simple, but there's enough stuff going on that a serious gaming group can get into it.
No, I really think it's a lot of fun, and the stock market. I think it's a good way to see how the prices flux, but it's not that so random. Like it's not a deck here and keeps flipping.
Right.
Like you still see every possible price there can be.
You have and even though there is a card that lets you rearrange it, it's not so crazy that you never know what's going to happen up there. So, final thoughts? Anything else we want to add about the game?
Overall, I think it is a fun, not too complex sort of market selling game. The mining stuff is unique, but the market stuff is seen before, and that's not a bad thing. I think we haven't seen it in a lot of games, though, so I think that's a lot of fun.
It blends it in an interesting way.
I love the idea of all the cards. I think that adds enough randomness, but they're still planning. I'm still thinking, okay, I think gold's going to go up this far, and odds are Jonathan has gold too, so he won't try to ruin me.
Right.
In a situation like that.
There's definitely a lot of, oh God, what's he going to do in 2 turns if I take this card and I do that? I've got a plan for that.
Enough randomness so it's not always like
Certainly.
always buy gold.
Right. That is one thing that always messes with my head is because gold isn't more valuable necessarily than coal. I mean, by and large, I think probably there's better cards maybe. I don't know, actually.
Well, actually, there's an interesting variety because there'll be some that cost one mining and one thing, which is another great thing about this huge deck of resources.
Yeah, so again, lots of variety. But the game is currently on Kickstarter for $38 with all stretch goals included. We encourage you, if you liked what you saw in this video, sounds like something you want to check out, to click the link that we'll have below, or possibly wherever we are right now on our screen. And give them your support because we think it's cool.
Yeah. Actually, one thing I'd love to see. Yeah. I don't know if we haven't seen anything like it played. I just want to click. Would be if there's like the resource. What if you flip one over? It's either empty or maybe has like oil or something, like something that just like the.
See, we're already thinking of ideas for expansions for it.
To go with the 3 cards we're talking about.
So that is Mining Maniac, and this has been our Roll for Crate Kickstarter preview. I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler.
Thanks for watching.